G'day, thank you very much for coming to check out this video on Occamise. If there's any video you should watch, it's hopefully this one. A very, very short video just walking you through the configuration of a solution in Occamise. So it gives you an idea of how you can use the different pieces of our solution to create some awesome outcomes. So before I get started, bottom right hand corner, there's an agent there that you can talk to and ask questions. You can even ask it to write you a user guide on a particular topic. You can provide feedback and you can ask for help from a member of staff, and we might even be able to just jump in if we have time and help you in real time by entering the chat, taking over from the AI. So please use that as you need to help you with everything you're doing. So I'll start by just showing you what this agent does. It's an agent that can answer basic questions about Occamise. I've given it just enough knowledge just as a demo. So I've given it about 6 items of knowledge. And you'll notice that when I ask the first question, it is performed an action. And so I've actually just received an iPhone notification on my phone off the back of that chat startup function. Now we can hide this from the user. I just got it there so that you can see that it happened. And also you'll notice that took a few seconds for it to respond as well. You can also do that asynchronously. That was synchronously, but you can do that asynchronously in some cases where you don't need the agent to see the result of it actually happening. All right, so the agent responded, provided an answer to that question. What can you tell me about channels? So I'm going to ask some additional questions. Okay, that's great. I don't like how tables work in Occamise. You need more capability. Now that's something no one would ever say, of course, but you'll see why I did it. Oh, look, the agent's just logged feedback. And so again, you would probably hide that in a real world situation, but the agent has autonomously decided that it needs to execute that ability and log some feedback. So that gives you a little snapshot of how agents work. It's getting its answers from this knowledge, and when it executed that feedback, it put an action item here on the dashboard. User expressed dissatisfaction with how tables work and mentioned the need for more capability. Okay, perfect. So, and I got an iPhone notification at the beginning of the conversation. So let's look at the agent configuration. So you can see very basic prompting here. I literally just told the agent to answer questions to the best of its ability, and I didn't give it any other direction. And then I gave it these 3 abilities, which it can use or the system can use as it needs to. So I already showed you the knowledge I added, the channels. This channel is a web chat channel. On this particular channel, I've just said show on Launchpad, which just means that it shows up here, but don't need to do that really. It's just a quick way of chatting with it. This gets created by default, so really didn't need to do anything there to start chatting with the agent. I created a table called conversation logs, and inside that will be records that are populated after the conversation finishes, which it has finished now, but we've got a 1-minute timeout on that. So let's have a look at the chat startup ability that agent has. The chat startup ability says that this should execute after the user's nth message, and we've set that to 1. So after the user sends 1 message, we will always run this ability. So this top box defines when an ability will run, and the bottom box or bottom boxes are all the steps that the ability is executing. In this particular case, it's executing 1 step from the Occamise service. It uses the send push notification function, and that has these parameters, which are all being set to a static value. And in this particular case, we've said that it should say new conversation started and then append this, which is a conversation variable. And you can probably guess what that one is. If you want to see a list of other ones, you can just type a little curly bracket, or you can also access it from here. So this is going to add the value of this to this text, and it's always going to be this value. But you can also use AI generated values as well, and you'll see that in the next ability, which I'll show you. So let's go back to other abilities. We have log feedback. So remember that action item was created when I said something negative. And that's because it's defined as at any point in the conversation, whenever the user provides negative feedback about Occamise. So if I was to say something very positive about Occamise, it wouldn't have done that, but because I said something negative, it did. So this one is dynamic. This is chosen by the agent during the conversation. Oh, I know I have this ability. I'm supposed to use it whenever someone says something negative. Oh, something negative was said. Let's do it. And so it comes down and it runs the first step, which is to create an action item. And it has these parameters. So the content of the action item, what will the action item say? And I'm saying, let's let the agent decide the value. And I've given it an instruction. I've said a concise summary of the negative feedback. Okay, and then I've set these other two as static values. And then lastly, let's have a look at the log conversation. This one executes after 1 minute of idle time. So you can see that after n minutes of idle time, where n is 1, always run it. And what step? Well, we're going to use the Occamise API service, and we're going to insert data into a table, and the table is conversation logs, and therefore the parameters are these, and these are the fields of that table. So we are again using a ability variable to populate a static value for chat time, but we're saying that the summary of the conversation should be AI generated based on this, a concise summary of the conversation. And questions asked, again, AI generated. And what we want to put in this field is a comma-separated list of each of the questions asked by the user during the conversation. And then lastly, another static field value, which is being populated as this. All right, so if we come back now and have a look in our table, we should find a conversation log for that conversation that I just had, which we do. And it's got a summary of the conversation and also the questions asked, which is exactly what we asked it to do for each of these values. Hopefully this has been a nice introduction to get you started, and don't forget, use our little agent in the corner here, reach out for assistance at any time. We're here to help. Have fun. Cheers.